Is that good? Right about here? Back there? Everybody? Am I blasting anyone? No? Okay. So, wow. Okay. I have notes tonight because this is just an emotionally charged day anyway, and selfishly I think it'll help me focus, and for your pleasure too, I hope. Kind of keeps things a little streamlined here as I share a little bit of my story and a little bit of my yoga path. First and foremost, absolutely, just a huge thanks to Rob, wherever you ducked off to here already. There you are, back there. I wouldn't be standing.
Just thank you.
Oh, I wouldn't be here, standing here, having this honor to share time and space with all of you if it weren't for Rob. He has provided so many opportunities for me already in the short amount of time that we've known one another. I consider him a friend and a mentor and a leader. And we, through part of my business with this Just Roll With It boot camp that we do, the first of 4 that we did in the last 9 months, the very first one, Rob made sure that we were able to provide these yoga DVDs and booklets for everyone in attendance at my seminar. So thank you, Rob, so much for that. Yeah, everybody. We've heard so much great feedback from people who've been using those, and then the boot camps moving forward, we've provided information to all the attendees for how to get those DVDs for free if they're veterans. So people have been taking advantage of that. It's been really great. So, like I said, I hate to read from notes, but I'm going to use them a little bit here tonight. The annual remembrance of 9/11 evokes such a mix of emotions for me personally, and to be honest, there's some emotions that have changed a lot over the last 12 years, and in particular in the last couple years. Just 2 years ago, in 2011, I wrote an account of exactly where I was when everything went down on 9/11 in 2001, and how I felt that the tumbling towers built America's next generation. And I wanted to read what I wrote, because I'm sure all of you remember exactly where you were when that happened too, or when you got the news. So here's my story of that day. I boarded the university bus, light blue shirt tucked into navy blue pants, shiny black shoes, hair pulled into a tight bun, and a garrison cap on my head, a backpack in my left hand. It was Tuesday, ROTC Day. And I was focused on a speech I was giving that morning in my military leadership class. I was deep in thought, reciting my speech over and over again in my head, when the conversation next to me broke my concentration. They're not sure what happened, but apparently someone accidentally flew into one of the Twin Towers. I hadn't watched TV that morning, so I didn't know what they were talking about, but the words stuck with me as I got off the bus and hurried to class. Within minutes of arriving, I knew everything. We were immediately ordered to leave class, go home, and change out of our uniforms. I tried to call my dad, who was recently stationed at the Pentagon, and my brother, who was recently, at that time, living in New York City, but the phone lines were jammed. I didn't bother waiting for the bus. I power walked, borderline ran home in my Air Force uniform, 2 miles back to my apartment, arrived sweaty, and stayed glued to the TV for the rest of the day as the events of what would later be dubbed 9/11 continued to unfold. Sitting beside me, equally entranced, terrified, enraged, were my two roommates and also soon-to-be military officers. As ROTC cadets, we were hit squarely by the military implication of what had just happened, but not a person on the University of Virginia campus was untouched by the tragedy. UVA canceled classes for the rest of the day, for the first time in over 100 years. On that day, I was 2 weeks into my own personal battle to switch from Air Force to Marine Corps, ROTC. What happened on the 11th solidified my resolve to make the transition. The military was for real now. It was no longer just about free college and a guaranteed job after graduation. The war on terror had begun, and I knew, without a doubt, I wanted to fight it as a Marine. By spring of 2002, the transfer was finally complete, and I was ready for Marine Corps Officer Candidate School. My class was a special one. It was the first one filled with post-9/11 volunteers. We had former Wall Street brokers, Wall Street brokers, CEOs, doctors, lawyers, stay-at-home moms, and everything in between. If ever there was a group of genuinely motivated people to defend their country, this was it. From that summer forward, my closest friends, my coworkers, my comrades, my generation, were people whose lives have been forged by the flames of 9/11. As a friend wrote to me while we were both in Iraq in 2005, no matter what paths our lives take, I think we can be proud of the first 4 years here, of the hurdles we jumped to get here. I know I am better for it, and I think we are all irrevocably changed for the better because we joined at this particular juncture. So, I wrote that 2 years ago, and if I were to write a similar account today, I'm not sure that it would have quite the same tone. And I wonder, for any of you, do you feel different now about it than you did 12 years ago? As we've been in these protracted wars for over a decade. Maybe some of you have lost friends. I know that I have. And, when things hit that close to home, it can begin to change our perspective a little bit. And for most of the last decade or more, when the calendar hit 9/11, my heart swelled with pride that I was part of a microcosm of my generation who volunteered to serve during a time of war. 2 years ago, when my business wasn't quite a business yet, but just a blog, I shared a letter from my father whereby he berated my choice to join the Marines. The irony of his letter is that he wrote it to his youngest daughter, it's me, a college junior in Air Force ROTC, exactly 1 week before September 11th, 2001. And he probably had no idea the weight his words would carry, and I wanted to share a little bit of that as well. So, although my father and I were very close, he wrote me a very long letter that started by saying, "I will never say I agree with you becoming a Marine." Yet I never doubted my decision. He continued, "I've been around all the services. I take the Air Force hands down, and I want only the best for you. I will never say I agree with you becoming a Marine. I will never say I'm proud of you. I know the Air Force is better, more rewarding life. You can believe all you want that you can make it in the macho world of the Marines, that you can make them accept you. You will never be a man. You will never be as mean, nasty, tough, or strong. The Marines are built on that concept for a reason. It does not matter what they say to be politically correct. They have to believe they are meaner, nastier, and tougher than the enemy bastard whose throat they have to slit on a dark night." This lovely letter to his daughter, by the way. Awesome. We need people like that. Maybe you can do that. Maybe you want to do that. And just preface, these are my dad's words, not mine. But no high school dropout weighing 210 pounds with an IQ of 90 is ever going to believe that. I'm sorry if this sounds cruel or perhaps wrong to you, but I know it is true. Should you have the right to prove yourself? Yes. Will you? I doubt it. Physical fitness tests are not Iwo Jima's beach where you have a 60-pound pack on your back. By the way, I carry 140 pounds on my back. Yeah. That's why I have scoliosis. Okay, well, and the water is chest high, the surf is pounding in your face, bullets are whistling around your head, mortars are blowing your unit into hamburger meat, and you have to turn and say, "Follow me." I know you want to fly, and all this death and destruction is far less personal, unless, of course, you are shot down and taken prisoner if you survive the crash. Hopefully, this is an irony, hopefully you will never have to fight a war, but you are joining either Air Force or Marine Corps to do that if called upon. It's about believing you are right so much that you are willing to do whatever is necessary to win, to kill someone else face to face or with a bomb. Decide you can do it. Decide you can convince others to do it. You will have something of an uphill fight in any service because you are a woman. Don't kid yourself. It isn't right, but it's true. You will be a minority, and people will respect you for your intelligence more in the Air Force. Anyone here in the Air Force, by the way? No? Okay, I think the Air Force is great, by the way. And the tone with my father, my mother, changed over the years, but he was very, very adamant, obviously. I got a letter like this every day for 9 months during my transition from Air Force to Marine Corps, during which time I was a junior in college, decided to triple major, was playing soccer, working because I thought I'd lose my scholarship, doing Air Force ROTC, Navy ROTC, Marine Corps ROTC, and Marine Corps PLC. So basically I didn't sleep ever. So this letter went on, and basically every conceivable obstacle that my father detailed, or that I imagined possible, and even stuff I didn't imagine was possible, were ones I ended up facing during my 7-year career. Yet like I said, I don't regret becoming a Marine. Although I was raped by a fellow service member just weeks before my commissioning. Although I suffered more than half of my 14 traumatic brain injuries during my time in the Corps. Although I was brought to the brink of death during my second combat tour to Iraq by sexual harassment and having the rape thrown back in my face and used against me to try to damage my career. Although I was struck by lightning on base while out for a run. That one just so makes me laugh. It's only funny because I'm okay now. Well, I was, training to meet military standards. Although my body was nearly crippled due to 7 herniated discs, osteoarthritis, spinal stenosis, chronic migraines, chronic pain, depression, and post-traumatic stress disorder during my time in service. Although many friends died and more were permanently changed, sometimes for the worse. Although a tumor in my breast grew and grew and grew until they finally decided to surgically remove it in a very emotional process on my last day of active duty. Although I suffered a stroke a year after leaving the military, a stroke the doctors ascribed to extreme stress from the previous decade. And although now I do my best to live out ahimsa, so much so that I had it tattooed on my body this summer, I am still proud of having served in our nation's military. Although my lifestyle has changed significantly in the last 12 years, I look back on those years of training and active duty service with fondness. And I recognize that I exercise agency in making new changes and making my own choices as I evolve. So now, in 2013, 9/11 reminds me of service in a broader sense, and it encourages me to stick with yoga. Why yoga? Because yoga saved my life. Yoga continues to save my life. And yoga makes my life, my relationships, my business, my health better. And yoga makes your life, your business, your relationships, your health better, as I'm sure everyone in this room knows. And the sweet, sweet irony is that if not for the military, I may not have ever pursued yoga to the degree I do today. Although yes, I was literally brought to my knees on facing death as far as I knew at that point in my life. I was a literal shell of who I am now, probably 20 pounds lighter than I was dying on my second deployment, just really, really close to being done. It was yoga that kept me breathing, that was that simple, to just roll off my cot onto the floor space I had just big enough for a yoga mat to sit and breathe. I didn't even know what I was doing, to be honest. I was like still a beginner yogi, and I was watching Shiva Ray DVDs. I mean, it was like gymnastics in my mind. I didn't know what was going on, but I was doing it, and I was breathing, and that was all that mattered. And so this is why I have dedicated my life to sharing this healing art, coupled with my faith, with as many people as I possibly can, in as many different ways as I can. And it's why I'm here tonight. And I think it's just such a perfect fit and such an honor. And part of why I'm extra excited is because I can't even describe to you the honor I feel at being here and being able to speak and share time and space with all of you. And it's why I've connected with the Give Back Yoga Foundation. It's why I advocate at our nation's capital for better laws and health care for our service members. It's why I give time to nonprofits like Team Red, White, and Blue and Service Women's Action Network. It's why I teach, it's why I speak, it's why I write, it's why I live a life that I find to be so fulfilling and so rewarding and so just full now. And I very much believe that by all accounts, I should be dead or brain dead. And I haven't even listed all my traumas, because that would just really depress everybody, so we're not going to do that. But as I move forward, I really want to share even more than just my personal healing that yoga has gifted me and bestowed upon me. I want to learn more and share more from the little bit I've done already about the neurological benefits and the empirical evidence we have that shows that meditation and yoga can rewire your brain for the better. I mean, 14 times that I know of, I've had a traumatic brain injury. I can do this. This is exciting for me. I play sports. I'm on the U.S. national team for Australian rules football. Like, that's crazy, right? I should probably wear a helmet when I play, now that I think about it. But I love to nerd out on yoga. And again, I'll say it again because it's just so true. It's such an honor to be here with all of you. I don't even know all of you, but those I do know or know stories of, that you're experts in different areas that either are directly tied to yoga or meditation or support that in some way. And I'm also a holistic health coach and do a lot with nutrition, so I love this concept of the farm to table and all the organic food and all of that. It's been such a huge part of my recovery, coupled with yoga and meditation. Nutrition has been really, really huge for my brain health and my recovery. Just one more little thing to share here. I met with Rick Warren, the author of The Purpose-Driven Life, last fall. And I got to see him speak to a large crowd at his church. Is anyone familiar with Saddleback Church out in Orange County? Yeah, pretty large facility. And he was telling his story, and that basically he believed that he was so successful because God knew that he would really give back. That even when he and his wife were living in squalor, he was tithing, and that he had promised God he would keep tithing even when he was successful. And to this day, he gives back most of what he earns to his church or other charities. And I believe that God has taken me through what he has because he knew, too, that I would give back. And I see yoga as one of my most tangible give-backs. I don't think it's a coincidence that as our world has continued to turn since 9/11, that more and more people have turned to yoga. I pray that this trend continues. I am honored to be a part of it and to associate with leaders in that trend, people who are continuing to support it. And on this potentially very dark day, I just ask that you be that light and be that love, because that's absolutely what we need. And being angry and prejudiced and judgmental is antithetical to yoga. And can we all just practice that and live it in every little moment that we can? Because that is truly just the only way. And I just pray that is the direction that each of us, one at a time, and through events like this and through groups like Give Back Yoga, can continue to grow that light. Thank you so much for having me here tonight.